All right, no script, just me and my freestyling. Should we do the cool glasses or should we not? Let's do a little Trump dance. Well, anyways, I'm apolitical anyways. But hey, I wish him the best of luck. Second time can be possibly a second time's a charm or whatever, but let me switch scenes here. Okay. So, you guys can see a little in the background or whatever, but anyways, let's see. After 40, almost, well, actually, yeah, in 4 days, there'll be 41 solar cycles that I've been on Spaceship Earth. And I picked up a couple of tricks. So, I've been in multiple business models, grew up in Illinois, lived in California, northern part. As some of you guys know, that California is basically three individual states. You got the northern part, which is Cannabis Central. You got obviously Silicon Valley with, tech, and you got Hollywood, South LA, right? Where they say it never rains, and and now they see how bad that can be, right? So, anyways, what else? Yeah, then I lived in Colorado, both sides of the mountain, and then I lived in Oregon, and then I moved to Florida in 2020, basically. Yeah, 20, yeah, it was 2020, October 2020. Um, to avoid having to pay, state income tax, even though I should have moved to Washington and saved and just crossed over the bridge. So I would have had no state income tax on Washington and no sales tax in, oh, come on. Really? You gotta be shitting me. One second. I don't know what, well, I mean, I've turned it on all day today, so let me restart it. Shit. What the fuck? Okay, well, like I said, this is not scripted, so let me turn this mother effer off. Luckily, uh, I designed my setup here so that I can quickly turn things off because this stuff happens. And as much as I could have mounted it in the back, oh my God, I forgot about that. Damn it. Hold on. All right, and we're back. Luckily, that's why I love OBS. You can pause it and yeah. So, anyways, I forget to keep looking at the damn teleprompter here. And even if I had a script, I couldn't use the Meta glasses because they're polarized. Now I wish I never did get them polarized because I won't be able to see the script. But anyways, so yeah, I've kind of realized that the reason why most of us feel lost in the universe basically and in the world, right? It's because no one has ever given us a roadmap. Now, of course, someone has to travel to a certain, somebody has to make their journey first, and then they can report back, right? So that's basically what I've done here. This is just it's not completely polished yet. Now it's more like 10%, um, because I'm kind of changing my offer. But so basically, I give you what I call life optimizing systems, right? After reviewing well, this I kind of, like I said, it's still kind of a work in progress, as you will understand. It is massive, right? And that's why it's like, damn. And then also sometimes like, hey, I discovered a new process, right? Or a more efficient process than the one I had before. And I'm sure some of my students might surprise me, like, oh, you know what? On second thought, your process is probably better for this, But anywho, what was I gonna say with all this? Yeah, kind of a Bitcoin rundown. I've been creating basically, looking back and just like, okay, what is a typical life path, you know, or phases or cycles that we have in a lifetime, right? So normally we have the baby phase, right? We have we go to kindergarten, then we go to middle school, then we go to high school, then we usually have a fork in the road. We either leave home or stay at home, right? Which most people are doing that nowadays because of basically when people talk about inflation, they're talking about greed, and that's why you need some money in your war chest. Life is basically war. Now, granted, great, it's not with guns and knives and stuff like that. Now it's more economic, And there are economic armies out there that are gobbling up the houses and a bunch of equities and just raising all the prices on everything, basically inflation. So it's not going to stop. And if you don't basically up your game, I mean, yeah, you could always start, moving back to your parents' house or cohabitate. That's why people like get into relationships, but then they see like they don't like being around that person. Well, if you truly were a good match, then yes, you guys will like being around each other. But even then, that's just more of a slower decay, right? Because nothing's meant to be permanent. And yeah, but I'm not going to get too much into that. All right. So, but essentially, right, you can kind of boil down the life to these three phases, right? You go to work, you pay bills, and then you basically repeat that until you die, right? So, but the question is, do you want to, well, it's over here. So now the next question is, do you want to live paycheck to paycheck all your life? Do you want a life of financial abundance and time freedom? In other words, do you want to be a wage slave and a debt slave all your life, or do you want to escape financial slavery, right? So if you don't mind being a wage and debt slave, choose this path, right? Don't change a thing. Keep doing what you're doing. And for in the highest truth, there is no right path. There is no winning or losing. We all go back to the grave, right? Or we all go back into the ground whence we came from. All right. But anyways, if you want to escape financial slavery, choose this path, right? Now, if you don't want to work to the day you die and stress about the lack of real money, right? Then you must learn and understand the cash flow quadrant, right? There's essentially only four ways to make money in this life, right? You either an employee, you either self-employed, or you run a true business, right? You're a true business owner where other people are doing the work for you, and obviously you're an investor, right? So you can sometimes do all of these, you know. So so if we break down each quadrant, right? The employee path is obviously you get a job, right? And you work until you die, right? And possibly retire. Like as a lot of people are noticing now that a lot of them, even with Social Security, right? The rate of inflation, you know. And the irony is that if they would have taken that money that the government takes it out and were to put it in the S&P 500, then they would actually outperform the Social Security and what they're going to pay. Self-employed is basically the exact same thing, right? You're basically self-employed. You're still the key concept here is that you're still trading your time for money. Okay, and that's what we're trying to avoid here. Okay, so yeah, you're probably gonna work till the day you die. I mean, you're always gonna technically work, but if you're doing something you like and it's bringing you good money and you create your own a good work-life balance, then it's different. All right. So the other path is become the business owner, right? Where you're leveraging, other people's work, right? So yeah, people work for you, with you. It's all kind of this. It's all kind of the same. With you is obviously better because yeah. I mean, without the people, you're not going to be anything. But not going to get too much into that. All right. So the better bet would be to buy a business that already has employees that already know their place and everything else. Not that they can't quit on you because that's usually happens sometimes too when private equity buys and brings in new management. The management may not rub off too well on the former employees or whatever. Anyways, the point is, right, now you can become an investor earlier because if you do that right, you should have excess capital, and now you have money to basically invest in things that will make you money from other people's work, in a sense. Because when you're investing in a stock, you're investing in other companies' employees, right? Them doing the work and giving you a dividend or the price appreciation of the stock, right? And you can possibly retire early, right? If you really ever really retire, because those that I guess truly retire, meaning they have no purpose, they usually end up dying faster than those that still have a purpose to live, right? So then we got the investor path, right? Yeah, investor path, right, which is making the money work for you, obviously, hopefully while you sleep, right? That's basically what's going on because somebody else is doing it, right? This is a great infographic telling you of the different things you can invest and more or less correlating their risk number, right? So If it's a one, that means it has very little risk and so forth and so on. But I'm not going to get too into that because nowadays we have Bitcoin. That's a whole other story. Okay. So anyways, yeah. So then you can also then you can truly enjoy passive income. So, but usually before you get that true passive income, and there's very few that are truly passive, right? Even the passive one, you're still going to have to do research unless you pay me, right? And then of course you trust me. And again, no one's ever right. Okay, even people at the billion-dollar status are still making wrong decisions, bad decisions based on the consultants they hired and stuff like that. Like having lots of money does not guarantee success, but it allows you to, try again if you were to fail, right? Because depending on the business model and what you're trying to enter, that's why certain billionaires are becoming multimillionaires and then becoming billionaires again. But it's also because, again, they're usually heavily invested in equities, and those can fluctuate, right, in value as the markets crash, then rebound, then hit new all-time highs, and yada yada yada, right? So, so yeah, so I'm just taking down the path here, right? So, how do most people get into the investor quadrant in a nutshell, right? They usually start with a job. Then they will start or buy a business in the field that they have worked in or got really good at, right? Then they generate more income than they consume. Okay, that's a big one, right? Because a lot of people are trying to, live more expensive lives than, but again, even if you did not have lifestyle creep. It's 1:11 right now in the morning. Even if you didn't have lifestyle creep, still doesn't mean that something shit can't happen to your investment like what happened to me and I lost 200 grand. But again, you can lose money, but you'll never lose the skills that you gain. And that's why I'm trying to help you guys mainly get money so you can acquire new skills, whether it's from me or other people. So anyways, yeah, and then they invest that extra money, right? And again, you can invest in all kinds of different things. Again, nowadays it's Bitcoin. There's been a big shift. I mean, look what happened with Trump right now lately with his meme coin. That doesn't mean it's legitimate like that and it's not long lasting, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting times we live in. All right. So just like Warren Buffett and the boomers and our parents had, the stock market, right now that's basically you're not going to get as many gains. Well, our generation, the millennials and the younger, Gen Z, whatever, we'll have Bitcoin, as we're seeing a lot of Gen Z obviously go into that as a kind of like a Hail Mary to, get out of financial poverty, right? Because again, nowadays you feel more of the financial poverty because of social media, right? So we are social creatures and yada yada yada. Okay. So anyways, so then you gotta ask a question to ask yourself to get into the investor quadrant, right? Oh yeah, yeah. So these are more. Oh yeah. So then you gotta ask yourself these questions, right? Okay, so if we start with a job, what job do I get, right? Then okay, start or buy a business, what business do I start or buy, right? Then okay, how do I manage the business and money for maximum profits, right? How do I invest in first, or sorry, what do I invest in first or diversify into, right? And then what do I want to do now after you have that passive income? As lately, well, in that case, he created Loom, I guess, and he sold it and he made millions of dollars. But now his whole life was consumed with Loom, and now that he sold it, now he's clueless about what to do. He has all this money, but he's like he doesn't know what to do anymore, which is very common to a lot of people who they consider their businesses babies, and yeah, once they sell their babies, they're clueless because they don't have nothing to do. So he's on a new path to figure out what he should do with all this abundance of time and money, right? Which is rare to certain rich people. The certain rich people have lots of money, but they have no freaking time, and I do not consider that successful. All right. So anyway, some suggestions. All right. Uh, to the whole get a job question, right? What job do I get? What's your personality type? If you're an extrovert, I would suggest get into high ticket sales, right? Online closers, okay? Or maybe even real life stuff like, car salesman, high end real estate, whatever. All right. If you're in the middle, get into the trades, plumbing or electrical, right? Primarily because those usually hold a bigger, I guess, pay because you usually need a license in most states, right? And if you're an introvert, we'll get into coding, right? Even though, yeah, nowadays it's kind of, seems kind of grim given AI and stuff like that. It would be more for like not for working for somebody, but actually coding your own app, right? All right, so then you're like, okay, start or buy a business. Okay, what business do I start or buy, and which business models are the most profitable, right? That's some of the questions you should be asking yourself, right? You can buy an existing online business with a 7A loan if you got good credit, right? Or any other kind of business, maybe a laundromat, a car wash, right? Facebook YouTube channels is big um, because it's one of the, it's one of the interesting. I'm torn between that because most of these Facebook YouTube channels is all about distraction, and that's what keeps you poor. That's to say that you can't watch, some mind-numbing, relaxing TV or YouTube channels, right? But yeah, but the point is you create an evergreen product that is free to consume. It may not cost you, it may not be free for you to produce, but because it's evergreen and it can continue making you money from all the views that happen throughout the years, right? It's a very interesting model. Same thing with affiliate marketing, right? You don't have to develop a product, you don't have to sell it, you don't have to service it, meaning you don't have to do refunds or customer service, right? You're just a glorified online salesperson, right? That's kind of what I'm doing with all this eventually, where I'm already going to consume products, right? You're going to consume products. Might as well record. I don't have my hat here, but I have a bunch of unboxing videos, right? And of course, I make videos of over time, like, okay, this is how in long term how this product performed, right? Because it may be really good in the beginning, and then oh shit, it broke 3 months. But if it broke down in 3 months, but if you don't make an update video and say, hey, this thing only lasted 3 months, it was great while it lasted, but it only lasted 3 months, right? So yeah, and of course, yeah, it's anyways, the point is you don't have to create a product, you don't have to sell it, you don't have to do refunds, you don't have to do customer service. You're just a glorified salesman, right? E-com as well, you could also do the exact same thing with drop shipping, right? You don't really have to deal with the product. It'll be more with the company that you're drop shipping it to. Right, or you can create your own product, but that's a little bit more work, but you do get rewarded a little bit more, right? Usually, a little bit more work you do, the more work you do, you usually get rewarded. It's not always true, but generally true, okay? And then of course, SaaS, software as a service. I'm going to be developing a lot of software because they just don't exist. If they existed for what I need to do, then shit, it would have been great, but that's not the case. All right, so how do you manage the business and manage the business and money for maximum profits, well, I haven't put in the rest here, but basically what I'm talking about the red or red pill or blue pill option is that once you understand corporate law versus common law and that you don't actually have to that basically federal taxes, therefore state taxes are also voluntary, then it's a whole other paradigm. But some people are not willing to pick that battle because you might have to battle, you might not. And yeah, so I just leave it up to you guys, right? Because yes, either whether you maximize tax saving strategies or you understand that you don't have to pay taxes, okay? Um, that's a lot of money savings, right? A lot of money that you're saving, and which obviously therefore you can invest, right? Now again, I have a love-hate relationship with Bitcoin, but again, since I know it's not gonna go away anytime soon, people have been talking about it's gonna go to zero, it's gonna go to zero for 15 years, right? And has outperformed all asset classes, which I don't have it here. I'm gonna show you guys later in other videos. Yeah, it's uh, it's kind of a no-brainer, especially with life insurance, and then combining with life insurance, right? It gets a little bit more complicated, but still doable. Okay, whole life insurance, just a little hint there. Okay, so I'm not giving you all the sauce for free. Okay, so anyways, Bitcoin farms because people always will want to eat, and obviously I'm sure there's farm stocks out there, and then multifamily real estate because people will always need somewhere to sleep, right? As I say, you always need someone somewhere to sleep, defecate, shower, right? Cook, store your food, and cook and clean, clean. Well, of course, cleaning. So yeah. Now, and then basically, then yes, in time you enjoy passive income. Now, obviously with Bitcoin, because it doesn't produce cash flow, right? Okay, well that's more of earning the income long term through price appreciation, right? Or commodity. In this case, it is commodity or property, as Michael Saylor puts it, which is more accurate. Okay, and then of course you have to manage your investments unless you give it to somebody, maybe like me or whatever, but then you got to pay us a certain percentage, right? Just like the super uber wealthy only have so much time, and so like, hey, I have so much money, let me give it to BlackRock. BlackRock already has, proven its history or whatever. But like I said, nowadays you don't need BlackRock for the most part. If you want to outbeat everything, do Bitcoin because it is a network that is growing and it's becoming quickly a financial instrument for the rich because it basically puts you outside the SWIFT system. So even though the rich don't usually have a problem at that level with the banks moving their money, right? Still, why not really control your money instead of like, please, Chase, move $50,000. Oh, we're sorry. Sorry, $60,000. Sorry, you can only move 50K in a wire. It's for your own good, right? So what was I saying here? Yeah, see, I got a bunch of other stuff that I'm working on. Let's see over here. This is the one that I've been working on right here. So this is again, when you look at what most people would say they would want in uh in life in a nutshell, we can basically break it down to health, wealth, and love. Okay, let me go a little so let me see here that way you guys are more centered. Okay, oops. Come on, don't do that. Okay, yeah. So what most people would say they would want in a life in a nutshell, okay? They would basically say, "Hey, I want health, wealth, and love." Okay? So how do you get Oops, let me go back a little bit. See, this is just again, this is just a prototype, but I just want to get it out there, just get some more content out there. All right, so how do you get health and wealth and maintain it as well? Okay, I haven't updated it. So how do you get health? Oops. Let's do a little editing while we're here. Health, wealth, and love. Okay. Well, first, it would help us to break down the average life cycle, right? So we're going to show you different ways people have created, right? So in this one, you're basically born, you go to school, right? You go to work to earn money so you can pay your bills so you can survive, right? Or else you're out in the street. And basically you repeat that until you die, right? So that's one way of viewing it. Now, obviously, there's a little more to life than this, but in a nutshell, life could be broken down to those four steps, okay? But here's another non-nihilistic way of looking at it as well. Okay. So this is some guy created it, and it's pretty accurate given modern day times. Okay. So let me zoom in and make sure everything's good. Okay. So we got yeah. So you basically you're born, you start school, you make friends. It's funny because it's very similar to what I created, but again, I just wanted to always try to find images that I already created, so I don't have to recreate the wheel. But anyways, yeah, you graduate, you get a job, you fall in love, you get married, you have a baby, you divorce, right? It's funny how they're having divorce there now, because it's again, it's more than 50%. They don't want people to realize that this marriage thing is basically is not sustainable, right? It's just not sustainable. Enjoy it while you have, but accept and learn the law of permanence. Now, there are a lot of people who are still married, but they're living in quiet desperation. And again, there's no judgment in my part. It's their life. They have every right to choose however they want to live their life. If they want to live in denial and a sexless marriage and all that stuff, well, usually it goes one way, but whatever. And other times it's the reverse, right? Maybe he has erectile dysfunction or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, the point is, divorce is pretty common. Most of you are probably going to get divorced. And the smart ones are immigrating to other countries so they can retire because it's the cost of living is less, right? Hopefully you're smart and you make a will. Actually, you make a trust. So that's a whole other ball game. Okay. And then you die. All right. So now, so yeah, basically this is the linear path, right? And so, but here's how I break it down. Okay. You are born, you go to different schools, you end up getting many different jobs, you get married or in a relationship, right? Most people are not married nowadays, which is pretty smart to a degree. Well, for men, more or less. For women, it's a whole other story. Again, we're sorry society lied to you, but we are not equals. We are different. Now, we are intrinsically equal spiritually, but in the physical world, in this dimension, right, in this simulation, we are not, right? Obviously, for those that are not, I don't know, cuckoo in their head. Anyways, you have a kid or two, which is rare nowadays too, exactly, and you raise them and set them free, and then you retire and then you die. Okay, but if we look at life a little more closer, it may look more like this for 80 to 90% of us humans in America or first world countries. Okay, so now let's get a little bit more detailed here, right? You are born, you go to preschool, yeah, preschool, daycare, kindergarten, whatever, right? This is I guess how the government kind of interprets the the definition, right? Early childhood, elementary, whatever, right? So yeah, you go to elementary school, then middle school, then high school. You probably get your first job during high school, right? You probably get your first car, or maybe you get your parents, you're driving your parents' car. But again, some of you might, I don't know, get money from grandma and be able to put $5,000 on an old car, right? An old used car, whatever, right? Therefore, you don't have to bug your parents and you have your own autonomy, right? All right, and then you go to college or university, or you go straight to the workforce, right? Then you get a job to earn money, right? Usually people who go to college, then maybe they'll get a job later, or they also get a job while they're going to college, right? Then you usually get your own apartment, you find a mate, right? You buy a house, you get some pets, because that's usually the general trajectory nowadays, where the couples are getting pets first and then they're having kids, right? You go on some vacations, you visit family, you visit friends, you deal with family and friends wakes, meaning, they're passing as you get older, right? If, they pass before you. Then you retire, then you finally die. And I put that in quotation because you don't really die, but that's a whole other spiritual aspect I'm not going to get into, okay? All right. So, oh yeah, so I say I haven't finished it. But the other thing I was trying to say here is, okay, what, what and how I would teach. Oh, yeah, yeah, what and how I would teach my kids, right? It's another way of saying what your schools and parents should have taught you. But in a sense, it boils down to giving them, the financial freedom roadmap, right? Which basically deals with the credit, right? The life map, and how, basically have no fear, right? Don't fear making mistakes. Now, of course, that's where I'm like, okay, well, there was no one here to really bail me out well, there was somewhat family, but my family wasn't made of millions and billions of dollars, so when I'm a billionaire, it's gonna be different. How do I treat my kids when they fail, because I mean they are your kids. I get it, it's such a delicate balance, but anyway, so yeah, you need tools, and obviously in modern day nowadays, right, the digital world, you need a phone. As you can see, certain young kids can make money just strictly off their phone, not super editing, right? There's some fancier apps that edit very well without having to need the computer, right? But again, you're just more effective on a computer, right? And of course, tools, right? I'm primarily focusing this for men because I know most of my clients are going to be men because we have the burden of performance, men. Okay, we're not going to get any love, and it's not really love; it's transactional. And of course, you're going to have to lie to each other and pretend it's not transactional because you have a negative judgment on transactions, but everything's transactional in life, right? You give carbon, trees gives us oxygen. There is a synergistic exchange on the atomic level, right? Everything in a sense is quote unquote having sex. All right, it's exchanging energy, right? Money's energy, sex energy, time is energy, everything, focus is energy, everything is energy, right? And of course, you need systems, right? So I'm going to give them all these systems, right? Time management, health management, finance management. How do you, this not powerful tool, right? How do you make sure that this, it's, it's a tool. We should protect it or learn how to use it, right? Back it up. So if you were to lose the tool, you can replace it and continue on with your life. Same thing with a laptop. Usually your most greatest investment and or cost of living is your shelter, right? How do you maintain all that, right? From having a mailing system to a key system, right? Just again, I've been looking at my life very, very closely and creating systems to make my life easier, okay? Your auto again, usually your most second, and it's not your most investment, right? It's not usually an investment. So, but you still should do the right maintenance so it lasts you longer, right? Especially if you're not going to lease like I teach you guys. Because, well, first of all, you're gonna have to have a certain level of income before it's beneficial for you to lease, okay? Then of course your work or business life, like what tools can you use to help with your work or your business, right? In a sense, I think everybody's an independent contractor anyways, because I mean you can quit anytime, right? It's not like I own you as a business owner if you work for me, right? So, and plus what I'm really establishing, as you can see my banner up there, is a cooperative corporation, so technically we're all owners. And of course, shopping, we're gonna have to consume, right? And so, how do you consume the best, right? So you don't nickel and dime yourself. Like I said, a lot of people buy stuff and they don't return stuff that sucked, you know? And yeah, you're nickel and diming yourself because you didn't open up the box carefully. you didn't get the receipts and like, oh, I don't have the receipt, I can't return it. Some now you can use your credit card, right? But it's far and few in certain places that won't will not do that, right? And of course, you're always going to have to deal with bureaucracy, right? So you got to have these documents ready, hopefully, in a safe so that if your house ever caught on fire or whatever. And of course, you need the digital versions of this because that's what most things ask for when you're online. Like I said, and now I extended it, but it's not here. Again, I'm in the process of consolidating all that stuff. And here's another thing, right? So here's what school should have taught you, right? Just a compilation of different things. And now I finally put images to the stuff and I'll explain why those are important in my opinion. And then I broke down the life into the ages of when these particular things should be taught, in my opinion, right? Again, everybody, you can make your own. This will be a template. Again, I'm giving you guys all the templates. Uh, so yeah, you can move this around. It's like, you know what? Self-defense should probably be taught around third grade, right? Because I don't know, whatever, right? So let me undo that though. Yeah. So it's up to you, right? I think more around here because kids start getting more sexual, I guess, or whatever, or women start developing more, and so they become more of a target for men or whatever. And of course, gun shooting should be a good one for, yeah, just whatever. You get to decide. As the fact that I put it out for you guys. What was I doing here? Oh yeah, so now I'm just putting pictures to these phases, right? But really it boils down to the age, right? And obviously the reason we skip here is because of, I forgot what else. Oh yeah, frontal lobe brain is developed supposedly around 25. Yeah, let's see. Obviously you can't be president until you're 35, 40 you're considered over the hill, and this is retirement age, right? So these are, in a sense, I'm just putting here general milestones in humans' lives, right? And again, other phenomenon. So yeah, this is if you go to college, usually that's where how old you're gonna be once you're in that age, right? Once you're in that age and you went straight to college right after senior year, whatever, right? So yeah, there's a lot. I create different things because I want to present the same information in different ways because people, different strokes for different folks, right? So as you can see, it's pretty massive. I got my master vision here. This is what I've learned from my I would say 20 plus years now of business because I started basically around sixth grade. So sixth grade is what this is why I like this because let's see here. Sixth grade was around I was around 12. So 41 minus, well, yeah, basically, actually, no, it was fifth grade because I remember meeting my buddy Corey, and his dad was a salesman, and I was already looking at the commercials on TV where you can place ads in the newspaper. Again, this is long before the internet, man. Internet did not really come until about junior, senior year, right? And it's not the internet like it is today. That's why I'm telling these young cats, okay, yeah, I'm more successful than you and I'm in my 20s. What have you been doing? It's like, bro, when you were 18 or around this age, right, YouTube was now monetized. Even I was pumping out uh, videos in that time, they weren't monetized, right? So whatever, I was out here paying my dues, hard grinding, moving to multiple states, right? Losing money because of this or that, right? Injuries, being arrested. I got all kinds of stories, right? Which I'll eventually break it down to you guys. But so yeah, I got a wealth of information. This is not even the start of it. I mean, there's just so much, right? Right now, I'm learning the law. Again, yeah, I've uncovered some things, and more of my prayers have been answered. So yeah, this just goes on and on and on and on. Okay, so I'm just trying to refine it. Eventually, what I have here, let's see if we can go back here. Yeah, so this is the one I'm going to make public, right? I'm kind of basically taking you down a path, right? A path of logic. And yeah, uh, again, life is very, very massive, right? And that's why I was like, damn, it's like, where do you start? And then so anyway, so yeah, so these will be different how-to videos, right? I want to basically give you the holistic package. So again, to primarily to sum it all up, to get you the health, the wealth, and the love that you will basically desire. Okay? So yeah, gonna have testimonials here like I'm doing here. See, I started putting pictures of, well, I don't want to zoom in now because, well, I guess I could zoom in. Okay. So this is me when I was decimated because I had an injury. So yeah, basically stick and bones, and then then I bulked up and I shredded, so basically got one, two, three, four, basically 8 pack. I do crazy, crazy, handstand stuff, crazy stuff in the gym, as you guys will see my other videos. So yeah, I can go on and on. If you are not, I don't know, if you're not a hater, you will generally, again, I don't know, I'm saying I have the recordings that they're buried in my 30 terabytes, and right now it's showing like it's 20 terabytes because I lost a couple hard drives. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to do a quick video, not scripted. Well, not, I generally don't like to script, right? This is my script, right? I like to freestyle. Sometimes I forget. I'm like, wait, what was I doing here? Right? But one of the primary things I want, so if I can go back in time, what I would do, right? And of course teach my children, but also go back in time and be like, yo, this is the plan, the timeline. So the minute you turn 18, what to do with credit, right? And there's also stuff you can do beforehand. But again, if you're not smart enough, if you're not lucky enough to have parents that are good with credit already, then they will not, I don't know, they won't set you up properly so that when you come out the gate at 18 years old, well, now you can write your own contracts, basically have your own credit cards and your own banking accounts, right? Basically in about 3 to 4 years, right? You can get lots of capital, right? To again hire people like me, um, yeah, and more importantly, apart from hire people, joining a tribe, an economic tribe, right? Whether you're aware of it or not, because okay, you can have FU money, but it's better to have a FU team. So if you lose $10 million, but your home, your homie can help you out with $10 million. Like, hey, lend me $10 million, right? Because they may understand that okay, you might have lost it because of this or that, right? And you still have the skill sets to rebuild it, right? So again, usually you invest it in some kind of weird investment, but if you have cash flow from a business, again, that's what I'm trying to help you either buy one or start one. Start one is a little more riskier. I can go back and be different now because I have all the experience. Now it's kind of different starting this business. Uh, and yeah, but anyways, yes, like I said, I have lots and lots of value for you guys. I'm going to be probably starting the baseline at $50, and then I'm thinking of like starting it at 50 and then raising it like, I don't know. So I got to find a platform that will automatically increase the price every month for every individual person, right? The point is to basically, if you're not put under pressure, financial pressure, you won't move. So like, okay, if I pay $50, let me consume as much as I can because the person that consumes the material faster and more importantly applies it, right? Right? They will get the benefits, right? So they can, in theory, right? I make it so condensed and so to the point without all this fluffy shit that you should be able to pay $50 and extract all the value in 1 month. But if not, okay, then if you're, lagging or whatever, or maybe your life doesn't allow you, right? Still, okay, the next month it would probably be $100, and maybe I'll cap it at 150, right? So like I'll give you 3 months to kind of like really capture the value, right? And then of course once you pass that level, then okay, now that I showed you how to get your personal credit card, basically you need a certain credit profile, and it's usually going to take 2 years. If you have no credit card, you're gonna have to have at least 2 years of getting at least two credit cards, right? 2 years old, and hopefully you're spending in the right way. What is it doing this shit? Hopefully you're spending in the right way where, see, I should be looking up here into the thing, but maybe yeah, I'll look up here now to the teleprompter. So this is me looking to the teleprompter. This is me looking at my 45, and this is me looking at the bottom, make sure everything's still good and Gucci, right? So yes, you're gonna at least 2 years. You like one of my clients right now, right? So she had no credit cards at all, right? She had 800 something because she has a mortgage and she had some prior accounts that are now closed, right? That are in good standing that gave her that, right? And she's like, I think 70 something, right? But in order to get her to the business funding for her business that she's doing, she's part of this unique anti-inflammatory thing, whatever. But anyways, the point is to get that business money for her to scale up that business to the next level, right? She needs to get the personal first, and I got her almost 50 grand. I'm actually gonna get her another two cars here, so she might actually be at around 80 G's, 70 G's, right? So she's well set because she has one more year to go, and after that year is done, I've been showing her how to move the money in her business account so that now she's gonna have good credit and cash flow. No collateral, which is fine. But if she's getting into business where it's gonna need material stuff, then that's just collateral anyways. Like let's say you're buying a big earth mover or anyways, yeah. Generally your main entry point of entry, over here, point of entry is good credit, and if you have good credit and collateral, you're gonna get even way more credit when you apply on the business side, which again doesn't report to your personal side, and so forth and so on. So all right, I'm tired. 40 minutes has passed here. I just went off a whim, and yeah, we'll be talking. Peace.